Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
We have scattered showers in the southern half of our viewing area. I'll show you when some of this rain could move into the triangle and also when temperatures could get into the upper 70s coming up.
Plus, an accused shooter in court. The man who police say shot and killed another driver on a busy interstate will appear for the first time. We have cameras at the courthouse ahead of the hearing.
And tackling child care issues, how Governor Josh Stein plans to provide relief to parents all across the state. Right now at noon, we are tracking the potential for rain moving into parts of our area. And right now we have a live look at Fayetteville because that's where it is going to be coming down. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Here's a look at the radar and the system moving to our area. Our southern communities are seeing rain right now. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is keeping a close eye on this in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Amy, how long can we expect this to stick around?
Really into the evening, especially for our southern counties. Now, some of you will stay dry through the day today, but the rain getting closer to the triangle area. So far this morning, earlier this morning, though, it's been in the southern half of our viewing area. Rayford and Hope County getting some rain right now. Fayetteville getting some light rain. Hope Mills as well. Clinton, you've had some light rain in your area as well. And slowly this is all lifting to the north. And it's all associated with this low pressure system that's south of us right now. There was a confirmed tornado north of Orlando earlier this morning, but the severe threat will stay south of us today. It's really just scattered showers in our forecast. So 3 o'clock this afternoon, scattered showers, maybe an isolated rumble of thunder in our southern counties, but we don't expect severe weather. But we will have some rain on the radar as the kids come home from school. So it could be a little wet for them at the bus stop as they're getting off the bus. By 5 o'clock this evening, scattered showers will be with us from around the triangle and points to the south. The heaviest rain certainly in our southern counties. By 8 o'clock this evening, really it's just the southern and southeastern half of the viewing area that have the best chance for rain. And then by 11 o'clock tonight, that rain moves away from us and it'll be dry overnight tonight. A live look at Fayetteville. It is a little damp there. We have another view to show you. This is a live look at our newsroom in Fayetteville, and we do have some rain, some light rain falling there in Fayetteville. So highest rain chances today in our southern counties. It's about a 50% chance around the triangle, but our southern counties, that's where we could see some heavier rain, maybe up to about 1/4 of an inch. And something to look forward to, warmer temperatures and sunshine are back by tomorrow, 74, upper 70s Wednesday and Friday. So some spring-like weather. But I'll show you when we have another round of potentially severe storms coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Amy. And make sure to download the WRAL News app. You can sign up for push notifications to get up-to-the-minute information. You can also follow along the radar to see when storms are hitting near you. And by the way, the app is free to download.
In the next 90 minutes, the man accused of shooting and killing a man on Interstate 40 is due in court. Josue Quintanilla Reyes is charged in the murder of 35-year-old Ricardo Baez. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan is live at the Wake County Justice Center where Reyes will appear. Chelsea, do authorities have a motive in this case yet?
Obviously, that's the biggest question, Renee. We don't know if it was a road rage incident or not. Maybe we'll find out in the next 90 minutes as Reyes is due to go before a district court judge. You'll recall he was arrested late Friday evening at his home in Durham. Now, this is the victim's truck. We showed you this on Friday. He worked for Wilson and Cofield, an electric company in the area. You can see the truck hit by bullets. Now, the victim, Ricardo Baez, leaves behind 2 young children. The family we spoke to yesterday, they say they did not know the man who allegedly shot him or, as you mentioned, why. This was an incident, though, on Friday morning that snarled traffic on I-40 East for more than 6 hours. So many unanswered questions, as you mentioned. The suspect due to go before a district court judge at 1:30 this afternoon. Hopefully we'll learn a little bit more, and perhaps the family will be in attendance. And, of course, we'll bring you the latest coming up on WRAL News in our later newscasts. Live in downtown Raleigh, Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.
New at noon, a Durham man is accused of stabbing his father to death. 26-year-old Ryan Lord is expected in court this morning, or he was at least, and he's charged with the murder of his father, 65-year-old Kenneth Lord. That happened around 10:30 yesterday morning at a home on Magnolias Tree Lane. When authorities arrived, well, that's where they found Kenneth dead inside the home.
And
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, we are following some breaking news out of Orlando, Florida. There are reports of a tornado that touched down there in Seminole County, which is just north of Orlando. Officials giving an update right now on the conditions, but look at the damage this suspected tornado left behind. Of course, the National Weather Service does need to confirm that an actual tornado did touch down. But the NBC and Fox affiliates down there reporting it touched down in Seminole County near Lake Mary about 9:30 this morning. They are reporting collapsed homes, downed trees, flipped cars, thousands without power right now. Fox 35 studio is actually near Lake Mary where that tornado, they say, touched down. The anchors actually had to physically hide under the desk while that tornado was in the area. They say 9:30 this morning is kind of when they were in the thick of it. This is something that we're going to stay on top of and bring you the latest in the Live Center.
Michelle, Amy Wilmoth just told us here that the National Weather Service actually did confirm that. So a lot of updates happening this afternoon. Helping parents and child care providers. That is the message from Governor Josh Stein. He announced the launch of a new task force this morning in Durham. And that's where we find WRAL's Sean Gallagher. Sean, this is a huge issue for parents all across the state.
Yeah, that's for sure, Chris. And Governor Josh Stein mentioned that there are more than 30,000 parents across the state who want to work and can't because of the high costs of childcare. It costs parents on average $12,000 a year. That's more than a year's tuition at UNC Chapel Hill. Now, Governor Stein read to the students here at Kate's Corner in Durham today, a facility that pays its employees a livable wage and provides a 4-day work week. But that's not the norm across the state, with the average childcare worker making less than $11 an hour. And that impacts parents' ability to find affordable childcare, forcing the decision to stay home with their kids.
This should be a choice. Parents shouldn't be pushed out of the workforce because they cannot afford to work. When we invest in childcare, our entire society benefits. Parents get to keep working and keep building their careers. Oh my goodness, he's already lost.
And the governor says he plans to include proposals in his upcoming budget to pay providers more and increase child care subsidy rates across the entire state, which will include rural areas. Now, Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt and Senator Jim Bergen will co-chair this task force. The governor says they should have an interim report sometime in June and then a longer report with hopefully some solutions by the end of the year. In Durham, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Tonight, the Durham Board of County Commissioners will vote on appropriating millions of dollars to the Durham School of Arts project. Durham Public Schools broke ground on the new campus on Duke Homestead Road in November. The additional $186 million would bring the total project budget to about $241 million. That's the full project funding for the district. Construction is expected to be completed by the end of 2027, and the Board of County Commissioners meets at 7 o'clock tonight.
Congress has until midnight Friday to avoid a government shutdown. House Speaker Mike Johnson revealed a bill that would fund the government through the end of September. It includes an increase in defense spending and a reduction of non-defense spending. President Trump is urging Republicans to support the bill. Their slim majority in the House means the bill could be derailed if just 2 of them don't support it. It would also require some Democrats in the Senate to vote for it.
Do you want to take a look at the stock market this afternoon? Oh boy, a bit of a hit there with the Dow Jones down at least 486, kind of fluctuating right now. S&P down 122 points and the Nasdaq down 622. A lot of people kind of reacting, investors specifically regarding the tariffs that are looming and in place right now. In fact, President Donald Trump is not even backing down from his tariff threats against Mexico and Canada. As Rebecca Castor explains, he's even saying tariff rates could go up.
April 2nd is Reciprocal Tariff Day for the White House. And President Trump says no country will be spared, even key trading partners like Canada and Mexico.
This country has been ripped off from every nation in the world, every company outside in the world. We've been ripped off at levels never seen before. And all we're going to do is get it back.
The looming trade war comes as Canadians elect their next prime minister. Former Bank of Canada Governor Mark Carney. And it seems he has no plans to fold first.
And my government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect.
In a sit-down interview on Fox Business Sunday, Trump suggested tariff rates could increase and didn't dismiss possible economic pain as a result.
You know, the tariffs could go up as time goes by, and they may go up.
Are you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big.
The markets plunged at the open Monday morning on all the tariff uncertainty, and stocks just had their worst week in 6 months, with the S&P 500 dropping 3.1% and NASDAQ down 3.45%.
And that was Rebecca Castor reporting. The U.S. Agency for International Development has been gutted. Secretary of State Marco Rubio released a statement on social media saying 83% of USAID will be canceled. The cuts come after a 6-week review. Rubio says the programs that remain intact will be placed under the State Department. USAID has handed out billions of dollars worldwide every year to help combat poverty, fight disease, and provide support to areas hit with natural disasters and famine. The Trump administration had repeatedly called for dismantling it, saying that much of the funds were misused. The Department of Homeland Security launched a new application where migrants can choose to deport themselves. It's called the CBP Home app. CBP stands for Customs and Border Protection. It replaces the CBP One app, which was expanded by the Biden administration, letting hundreds of migrants schedule appointments at a port of entry to seek asylum.
Your timer now is 12:09. Disappeared in Dominican Republic. A University of Pittsburgh student went on a spring break trip and has not been seen since. New this noon, the man believed to have seen her before she disappeared.
Investigating egg prices, what the Department of Justice is looking for among companies providing massive amounts of eggs to Americans.
And whooping cough uptick, what local doctors are urging families do as more cases of the illness are being reported.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Israel is sending a delegation to Qatar today to try to advance ceasefire negotiations in Gaza. American officials will also join in the talks this week. Hamas says there are positive indicators for a second stage of the ceasefire. European leaders are also voicing support for an Arab-backed Gaza reconstruction plan. It would cost $53 billion and would avoid displacing any Palestinians. Until a deal is reached, Israel has paused aid shipments into Gaza.
A South Carolina woman is facing charges in connection with that huge wildfire near Myrtle Beach. Alexandra B. Alauso is accused of negligently starting a fire in a backyard fire pit that burned out of control. In fact, a burn ban was in place in Horry County at the time. And authorities say the backyard fire sparked a larger fire that has now burned 2,000 acres, and it's still burning and only 55% contained. Former central banker Mark Carney will serve as Canada's next prime minister. Carney will replace current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and you may recall Trudeau announced his resignation back in January. Carney will now lead the party into the next federal elections. They must be held before October, but could actually be called much earlier. Carney will face off with Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre in the election.
A search is underway for a missing University of Pittsburgh student who disappeared on a spring break trip in the Dominican Republic. Authorities are looking into a man believed to be seen with her right before she disappeared. Nate Foy explains where the investigation stands.
A desperate search is underway for 20-year-old Sadishka Kananki. The University of Pittsburgh student was on a spring break trip with friends in Punta Cana, where she went missing early Thursday morning.
We want to find her. We want to hopefully find her safe and sound. Right now, there's just so much that we don't know.
Kananki arrived at the Dominican Republic on Monday and was last seen on surveillance video at 4:15 a.m. Thursday morning, heading to the beach with a group of people. Surveillance cameras capture that group later returning without Kananki, who is believed to have stayed behind with a young man. According to local reporting, authorities are now interviewing him to determine what happened leading up to Kananki's disappearance. Some local reports say authorities believe she may have drowned, but officials in Loudoun County, Virginia, where Kananki is from, say there's currently no evidence of that.
So the principal thing that you do in a situation like this is the FBI and our partners, the Dominican Republic, Civil Defense and the Dominican Navy, they're searching for her, but they're also collecting as much information, putting together a footprint of exactly what and where she had been.
Kananki was officially reported missing 12 hours after she was last seen. Several Dominican agencies are conducting search efforts, with the Dominican Navy assisting and 4 drone teams deployed.
And that was Nate Foy reporting. Authorities in the U.S. and the Dominican Republic are continuing to interview witnesses and reviewing all phone and video records.
And back here in the WRAL Live Center, we have an update to a story that we first reported on Friday, an officer-involved shooting in Fayetteville. We have since learned the name of the suspect. Police have identified the suspect as 28-year-old Isaiah Nichols of Fayetteville. According to officers, it all started when Nichols was seen going more than 100 miles an hour on the All-American Freeway Friday night. He then stopped on a service road. And when officers attempted to arrest him, the man resisted and shot at officers. One officer fired back, hitting Nichols. He was transported to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, where he continues to receive medical treatment. He is facing multiple felony counts, and the officer was placed on administrative leave. The SBI is investigating.
All right, well, no, you'll be watching that carefully. Thanks, Michelle. I do want to hand things over to meteorologist Amy Wilmoth. Amy, we're tracking that rain that our southern counties are seeing, including in Fayetteville.
That's right. Fayetteville in the last couple of hours has had some light rain. Same thing in Sampson County, and this is slowly lifting to the north. We don't expect severe weather like they've had down in Florida today, but some scattered showers will be with us on and off throughout the day, especially from the triangle and points to the south. That's where our highest rain chances are. This is a look over towards Sanford at Lee County, starting to get some very light rain there. Fayetteville has some light rain. Same thing at Hope Mills. Southern Pines in Moore County has had some light rain. Clinton also getting some of that light rain as well over in Sampson County, and some of that lifting into Johnston County, getting kind of close to Smithfield. Same thing in Wayne County, Goldsboro getting some light rain as well. So a little bit active on the radar, but nothing compared to what they've seen in Florida, where there was a confirmed tornado just north of downtown Orlando earlier this morning, all associated with this low pressure system. The severe weather threat will stay to the south of us today. Wouldn't rule out an isolated rumble of thunder in our southern counties, but for the most part, this is just rain for us. 3 o'clock this afternoon, some scattered showers will be possible. Not really widespread for the bus ride home for the kids, but we will have at least a little bit of rain on the radar. 5 o'clock this evening, so for the evening commute, we'll have some scattered showers. We could have some wet roads for the evening commute, especially from the triangle and points to the south. Certainly the heaviest rain will be in our southern counties, where you see those yellows and oranges. We'll have some moderate to heavy rain perhaps, and maybe, as I mentioned, a rumble of thunder. As we get toward 11:15 tonight, that low pressure system moves away from the coast, and it will take the rain with it. It'll be dry overnight tonight. This is a live look at Raleigh, and we have the clouds over downtown Raleigh. 57 the current temperature, with winds out of the east at 7 miles per hour. It has been a little breezy at times. It's cooler where we have the rain, so this is kind of backwards compared to what we're used to. Usually it's warmer in our southern counties. Because of the rain, it is cooler. 49 in Fayetteville, 51 in Clinton. It's 57 in Raleigh and Durham, and 59 in South Hill, Virginia. So hour by hour today, temperatures should climb into the low 60s. We'll be dodging some of those showers from the triangle and points to the south. And then looking ahead to our next big weather maker, it's going to arrive over the weekend. It's a pretty strong storm system that has a lot of moisture with it. We'll have the potential for some heavy rain and maybe some storms, some severe storms possible. We could be dealing with a little bit of a flood threat and a wind threat as well. And I'll have more on those threats coming up in the next half hour. But some beautiful weather once we get past today. So we're kind of bookended with some rain chances on the 7-day forecast, but in between, it's just beautiful. It'll be chilly tonight. We'll get down to around 39, but then 74 with sunshine on Tuesday, 77 with sunny skies Wednesday. We're up to 75 Thursday, 79 Friday, and perhaps 80 on Saturday. That'd be the second time this year that we've hit 80 degrees. But then Sunday gets here. It's pretty active. Showers and storms are likely, and temperatures will still be warm in the mid-70s. Again, I'll have more on that Sunday system in the next half hour.
This week's just looking fabulous with
Zero
sunny
complaints.
and in the 70s. Love it. Well, Coach can't. NC State has fired men's basketball coach Kevin Keatts. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, who could replace him?
And at 5, teacher trouble. The number of people enrolling in educator preparation programs in the state has been falling for years. The negative effect it could have on students. Egg price investigation. Next, why the Department of Justice decided to get involved and the questions they're hoping to get answers to.
And could TikTok have a new owner? The potential buyers and how soon we could possibly see a deal to avoid a potential ban. The U.S. Department of Justice is investigating record high egg prices. A Wall Street Journal report says the investigation will focus on large egg producers. The DOJ sent letters to some egg producers requesting them to keep documents related to their conversations about pricing. Investigators want to know if those producers are conspiring to keep prices high and holding back their products. Egg prices are currently more than double the price they were compared to last year. The sharp rise has been directly linked to an avian flu outbreak. Meanwhile, the Japanese government is auctioning off the first 150,000 tons of rice from stockpiles to curb rising costs. There were 10 of rice, from stockpiles to curb rising costs. There were 100,000 tons of rice harvested in 2024, 50,000 tons from 2023. Rice prices have continued to surge even after the government announced its decision to release 210,000 tons of rice from its stockpiles.
President Donald Trump says multiple groups are interested in the sale of TikTok. The president says he is in talks with 4 groups looking to acquire the social media platform. TikTok faces a potential ban, and that was delayed for 75 days after the president took office in January. The law requires TikTok's parent company to sell its U.S. assets because of national security concerns. Trump says a deal could potentially be reached soon. Starting today, people will march 54 miles from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery. This is to commemorate historic marches 60 years ago. Yesterday, a commemorative march happened at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, and that is where Bloody Sunday happened on March 7th, 1965. That's when protesters fighting for black voting rights were stopped and beaten by law enforcement. That led to the Selma to Montgomery marches, which eventually paved the way for the Voting Rights Act.
Whooping cough cases up. Next, why doctors say we are seeing an increase across our state.
And a life-saving second grader. A 9-year-old in Raleigh performed the Heimlich maneuver on a choking classmate. Next, a closer look at his actions that was captured all on video. And we do have a look at your winning NC Education Lottery numbers before we head to break.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
We are continuing to track showers moving through parts of our area. Fayetteville is looking a little damp there. Let's get right over to meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. And Amy, how much rain might we see from this system?
It's not going to be much, maybe 1/4 of an inch in our southern counties, probably less than 1/10 of an inch from the triangle and points to the north. So the heaviest rain certainly will be focused here in our southern counties. That's where the rain has been so far today. Starting to see a little uptick in the rain activity just to the west of us. So I wouldn't rule out an isolated rumble of thunder, but we don't expect severe weather. We do have some scattered showers in Moore County. Robbins getting some rain down to southern Pines. Also in Benson, you have a shower just moved through. Smithfield, some light rain getting close to you. Same thing in Goldsboro, some light rain there as well. Fayetteville's had some scattered showers. Same thing in Clinton. We're done with the rain tomorrow, and then we have a huge warm up. I'll show you how warm it's going to get coming up.
Amy, thanks. Make sure to download the WRAL News app. You can sign up for push notifications to get up-to-the-minute weather information. You can also follow along on the radar to see when showers are hitting near you. It is free to download.
Hospitals in the Triangle and at least one Wake County school are reporting cases of whooping cough. WRAL's Laura Levine explains why we're seeing a spike in cases all of a sudden.
Health experts here at UNC Health tell us in both North Carolina and throughout the U.S. between 2024 compared to 2023, we have seen a 4 to 6-fold increase in whooping cough cases. Just last week, Wake County Public Schools sent this letter out to parents informing them of one confirmed case at Oberlin Middle School. Dr. David Weber with UNC Health tells us that there were 2 more cases of the whooping cough at UNC hospitals the first week of March. The respiratory illness often begins like the common cold, but intense coughing could last for weeks or even months. It is most serious to babies and children, especially those who have not had the recommended vaccinations.
It is transmitted by aerosols, by coughing, sneezing, and then people breathing it in. And it's quite infectious, meaning somewhere in the range of 10 to 12, what we call row, meaning if I was infected and everyone around me was susceptible, 10 to 12 people would become ill.
Vaccination is especially important for certain groups, including pregnant women, as well as those who work closely with infants or with individuals who have chronic respiratory conditions. Laura Levine, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Pope Francis is entering his 4th week in the hospital, and there are signs his recovery is headed in the right direction. The Vatican says he is now doing physiotherapy and eating solid foods. The Pope has also been responding well to his current treatment, and so far there's not been a negative turn. A man is dead after being hit by a vehicle while riding a bike in Rocky Mount. Police responded to a crash on Fairview Road around 8:45 last night. When they got there, they found a 60-year-old man who had been hit while on a bike. He died at the scene. His name has not yet been released. We're working to learn whether anyone is facing charges.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, X is having an up and down Monday. The platform is down right now for thousands of users across the U.S. and around the world. I opened this tab. This is supposed to be X. I opened this about 5 minutes ago. It is still trying to get to the site, indicating that it is still down. Some reporting that the website actually came back briefly before going down again. I did search downdetector.com. This just gives you an idea of the outages reported in the last 24 hours. You can see it spiked at 6. It was flat again until 9 and then went up again at 12 p.m. More than 10,000 people in the UK also reporting outages with X. The cause of the outage was not immediately clear.
All right, thank you, Michelle. A 9-year-old at a Raleigh charter school is being celebrated for saving a friend from choking. Jayceon Branch and his friend, 7-year-old Danye Moore, were playing basketball at Raleigh Oak Charter School. Danye was eating a granola bar and then started to choke, and the moment was caught on video. You can see here. Danye is in the dark-colored shirt, bends over, struggling to breathe, and then Jayceon in the white shirt, he steps in and he helps immediately.
He was trying to say, hold on, but he couldn't because he was choking. I didn't know he was actually choking. So I just did my thing, which was a Heimlich.
You sure did do your thing. Jayceon says he learned how to perform the Heimlich maneuver from a YouTube video. Raleigh Oak Charter School plans to celebrate Jayceon's actions very soon.
What a hero. Covering Wake County, today Wake leaders will meet and go over the results of a community survey. Wake County residents shared their highest priorities for countywide changes. And at the top was concern for residents for housing. The survey found more than 45% of those polled say they do not have access to affordable housing in Wake County. Today, you can learn about jobs in Durham's Parks and Recreations Department. The city will host a job fair from 5 to 7 this evening. It's happening over at the Walltown Recreation Center. It is focused on parks and rec as well as maintenance positions. Full, part-time, and seasonal positions are all available.
Well, we're waiting to learn what's next after NC State fired men's basketball coach Kevin Keatts. He led the team through 8 seasons. Last year, he guided the Wolfpack to the Final Four. And this year, NC State finished near the bottom of the ACC and did not qualify for the conference tournament. Meanwhile, the Duke Blue Devils are this year's ACC women's basketball champions. They beat NC State 76-62 yesterday in the tournament's championship game in Greensboro. It is the first title for the Blue Devils since the 2013 season. And Duke is now tied with North Carolina for second most tournament titles in conference history. 3 other North Carolina teams qualified for March Madness with conference tournament wins. High Point University's men's team is going to the big dance for the first time after winning the Big South Conference. High Point's women's team also won their tournament to qualify for the NCAA tournament, and UNC Greensboro women's team qualified by winning the Southern Conference tournament.
A new jet in the skies. Next, a new airline partnership and when you could have the chance to ride in it. And sleep struggles, ways you can ease back into a good sleep schedule after daylight saving time. News and information comes in at a fast pace. Keep up with it wherever you are by downloading the WRAL News app.
Delta Airlines is partnering with aerospace startup JetZero for a new wide-body passenger jet. So this right here, this is what it would look like. The jet will be up to 50% more fuel efficient than conventional ones, according to the company. Delta says it's looking to incorporate the design with dedicated overhead bin space for each passenger, and it wants accessible seats, bathrooms, and fewer rows as part of this. The jet could accommodate more than 250 passengers, and JetZero hopes to begin test flights by 2027. Apple has delayed its AI update to its virtual assistant Siri. A company spokesperson says it's going to take the company a bit longer than expected after reports say that it didn't work properly. Apple previously released an improved Siri at the company's Worldwide Developers Conference last year. They expected it to be released this spring. The updated Siri is expected to be more conversational, understand context, and even have the ability to do more. CVS will be opening smaller pharmacy-only stores. The company is opening around a dozen of them that are about the size of a traditional layout. It comes as the company closed more than 1,000 stores and let thousands of employees go. No word yet on if any locations will be coming to the Triangle or even North Carolina as a whole.
Now that we've moved our clocks ahead 1 hour for daylight saving time, you may start to notice some disruptions with your sleep. Dr. Nancy Fulvary says most adults are already sleep deprived, so losing another hour can have a significant impact. For example, a person may notice they are more irritable or moody. They may also feel tired, which can be incredibly dangerous if they're driving. Every year, there are reports of car crashes on the Monday right after the time change. There is also a rise in heart attacks, stroke, depression, and suicide. Dr. Fulvary explains what's causing the sleep disruptions.
So with the shift forward in the springtime, we lose 1 hour of sleep. And that may not seem like a lot, but there's a couple of important points. One is that it takes time for our circadian rhythm to become aligned again with the light-dark cycle, with sunlight and darkness.
So how can you adjust to the time change? She recommends going to sleep earlier, keeping your bedroom dark, and avoiding electronics in there as well. If your sleep issues do not seem to be resolving after a couple of weeks or months, it is best to consult with your doctor.
An insurance nightmare. Next, how Five on Your Side helped wipe a local mom's massive medical bill away.
And prepare for buzzing. Next, a group of cicadas expected to be in North Carolina this year for the first time since the early 2000s. A local mom was stunned when her health insurance denied coverage for a $126,000 procedure. When her appeals went nowhere, she reached out to Five on Your Side, and they were able to help get this denial overturned. Five on Your Side producer Pritchard Strong is here now with a look at what happened with this. So, Pritchard, why was it such a surprise to get this denial?
Well, she had prior authorization before she even had the surgery. She went to her health insurer and said, hey, I need this procedure. They approved it. She even went to Duke, who she was having the surgery with, got an estimate. It said, you owe $0. And it really wasn't until after she'd had the procedure that she gets a letter later saying you're denied for a coverage amount of $126,000.
Yeah, that must have been quite a shock. We mentioned her appeal did not work. What happened there?
So she tried appealing, and they said that essentially this was investigational, that the implanted device, she had an ankle replacement surgery, and the implanted device they deemed was investigational. It was 3D printed, that's what the determination was, and they just didn't have enough information to know that it was going to benefit her life. Now, they made this determination even though she had the exact same procedure, exact same doctor, same hospital on the other ankle 4 years earlier, and she said it greatly improved her motion, her pain level, so that's why she came and got this exact same procedure again. But Blue Cross Blue Shield, who made the determination, they didn't see that as enough evidence and again denied her appeal.
Okay, but you were able to get that denial overturned, right? How'd that happen?
We were, yeah. We reached out to Duke, we reached out to Blue Cross Blue Shield, and we were able to get that overturned. Tonight at 6, we go into a little bit more detail on exactly what the miscommunication was. And we'll talk a little bit more about denials as well. This is a problem that Duke says is getting worse in healthcare, insurance denials. So, they wanted to get the word out about that, as well as this patient to, encourage people. If you get a denial, it's not the end of the road. You can appeal it. And there are other avenues to try and get these denials overturned.
Sounds like some very valuable takeaways here after seeing this report. We look forward to it. Pritchard, thank you. Chris.
Americans are borrowing billions of dollars to cover their medical expenses. A recent Gallup poll found last year 31 million Americans borrowed a total of $74 billion just to cover medical bills. More than half of the respondents said they've borrowed at least $500. The survey found people under the age of 50 tend to borrow more to cover medical expenses than older Americans. And the poll also found 3 out of 5 Americans under the age of 65 say they're somewhat or very concerned about potential medical debt. More and more people are keeping the same bank account for years. A new Bankrate survey found bank and credit union customers have kept the same checking and savings accounts for an average of 19 to 17 years, respectively. More than 40% say that's caused it because it's convenient and they have always had it. Now, 3/4 of adults surveyed have a checking account and 2/3 a saving account. Only about a quarter opened their accounts in the past 5 years. All right, do you want to take a quick look outside here at Fayetteville? Looking pretty calm right now, though we do saw some rain a little bit there before. Amy, you're watching closely the radar on the dual Doppler 5000. Pretty lot of green I'm seeing on the map there.
Yeah, it's really the southern half of the area getting some scattered showers right now, and some of this rain starting to work into southern Wake County. So Fayetteville getting a little bit of a break now as the rain lifts just to the north, but there's more down here to the south that is headed in your direction. The northern counties really missing out on the rain so far today. You have about a 30% chance of a stray shower later on today. Look at Wake County, Holly Springs, close to Fuquay. We have some light rain getting close to the Apex area and Cary as well, but it's generally very light rain across most of the viewing area. We might have a rumble of thunder in our southern counties, but the severe threat should stay well to the south of us. 12-hour rainfall so far. So it's, again, really the southern half that's had the rain so far. This is anywhere from a trace to about 1/10 of an inch of rain so far. And we'll add to those totals as we head through the next several hours. It's a 50% chance for rain. This is for the triangle. Bump these up to about an 80% chance in southern counties later on this afternoon. And then the evening commute will have some scattered showers as well. The rain starts to taper off late this evening, and then overnight tonight it will stay dry. So we have this round of rain today, then a nice little break, beautiful weather for the rest of the work week, but then a 60% chance for some rain on Sunday. And that's our next weather maker that we're watching. We have the potential for some severe weather. Right now for Friday and Saturday, there is a severe threat west of us. I do think probably we'll have that potential for severe storms in our area on Sunday as well. So stay tuned. It's likely we'll have some heavy rain. Most of it will come on Sunday, and it's likely to be pretty windy with this system as well. This is a look at the risk for heavy rain, and it's the North Carolina mountains that have the highest risk for some heavy rain, but we have a moderate risk for some heavy rain as well. The risk for high winds for the system on Sunday, we do have a medium threat for most of North Carolina. So I do think we're probably going to be put in a severe risk for Sunday, but that's still a long ways away in the weather world. So keep checking back in for updates. But it does look like Sunday's going to be a pretty active day, a day for indoor things over the weekend. A live look at Fenton and Cary, pretty gray with some approaching rain. It's really light rain that's just to the south of you. Right now you're dry, but it's also breezy at times as well. It's 55 in Cary right now, 57 in Raleigh, 55 in Knightdale and in Garner. It's 54 in Holly Springs. So temperatures are fairly cool. We'll likely climb into the 60s across a good part of the area today. 61 in Raleigh, 62 in Durham. Cooler in our southern counties where we're likely to have some moderate rain. High temperatures will stay in the mid to upper 50s for southern communities. Let's talk about the big warm up. This is tomorrow. So Tuesday we get up to 74. Should be a beautiful day. Wednesday we have that strong southerly flow. We get up to 77, 75 on Thursday. We'll still have that southerly flow. And then as we get into Friday, 79. And then as we get into Saturday, 80. So some warm temperatures headed our way before this front arrives and brings us that threat for some pretty strong storms on Sunday. So some rain today, nice weather for the rest of the work week. And then that's the next system to watch on Sunday. Some storms possible with highs in the 70s.
Bring it on spring. Amy, thank you. A record-breaking win. Next, we meet the 6-year-old boy and the new title he and his pup now hold. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. Happening today, the man accused of shooting and killing a man on Interstate 40 is due in court. Josue Quintanilla Reyes is charged in the murder of 35-year-old Ricardo Baez. Baez leaves behind 2 young children. The family says they did not know the man who allegedly shot him or why. The incident stopped traffic on I-40 East for more than 6 hours on Friday.
And a Durham man is accused of stabbing his father to death. 26-year-old Ryan Lord is expected in court today. He is charged with the murder of his father, 65-year-old Kenneth Lord. That happened around 10:30 yesterday morning at a home on Magnolias Tree Lane. When authorities got there, they found Kenneth dead inside that home.
Helping parents and child care providers. That's a message from Governor Josh Stein. He announced the launch of a new task force this morning in Durham. Governor Stein mentioned more than 30,000 parents who want to work are not able to because they can't afford childcare, costing parents on average $12,000 a year.
Billions of cicadas from what's called Brood 14 will come to North Carolina once the warmer weather hits. You don't have to, though. You can stay under there. These types of cicadas emerge every 17 years. Their last awakening was when George W. Bush was president, and Apple was about to launch the App Store. Cicadas come out when drenched wet ground temperatures hit 64 to 65 degrees, give or take. Brood 14 will be mostly in the Northeast, Midwest, and South, and I bet you, Renee, some weird cuisine is going to be made by some restaurants. That's usually what happens.
And then listen to that buzz, that deadening buzz. North Carolina-based company Krispy Kreme is celebrating the luck of the Irish. Today, it rolled out a new collection of donuts for St. Patrick's Day. It includes the Pot of Gold donut. Krispy Kreme is also giving away a Pot of Gold pass worth free original glazed donuts for a year. We're talking a dozen per month from April through next March.
A couple of local athletes began competing today in the Special Olympics World Winter Games. Stephen Foster and Trenton D'Agostino hit the slopes in Italy, and looks like Foster is showing off his skills in alpine skiing while Agostino, is taking on the snowboarding course. Now, these are photos you're seeing from the opening ceremony that kicked off the event Saturday. Ashley Tanner will begin competing in figure skating starting tomorrow. A 6-year-old is breaking records. Freddie Osborne is now the youngest trainer to compete and win at Crufts International Dog Show in the United Kingdom. He competed with his 8-year-old dog named Penny. The two finished first in the veteran breed category. And Freddie says Penny is more than just his pet, more than his teammate. The two have spent nearly their whole lives together. Oh.
Well, that brings us to today's pets of the day. 3 huskies, Falafel, Faye, and Farfalle. I guess like the boat-shaped pasta. They are 13 weeks old. They already know some commands. They are playful, soft, and cuddly. For more information, just go to lovemuttsrescue.org to apply to adopt, and you can meet them by scheduling an appointment.
Helene funding timeline. Western North Carolina is still months away from rebuilding homes, which is why coming up on WRAL News at 4, we'll talk about what officials are blaming for that holdup.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And just a reminder, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. We hope you have a great day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.